DDG episode 230. My name is Dave, and I'm joined by Michael.
Dave, I had to resubscribe to our Twitch channel, as one does, and it says happy 46-month anniversary, which I don't think I've missed too many months, so 46 months sounds like a long time.
Yeah, because, 48 would be 12, 24, 36, 48, 4 years.
4 years,
and,
yeah.
And
we weren't always it took us a little bit to get Twitch affiliate,
yeah,
so it's
so
still kind of daunting to see 46 months.
Yeah.
Of at least Twitch affiliation. Kind of crazy, Dave.
Everyone else should subscribe on Twitch if you're able to. Even more of the reason to use your Amazon Prime account, if you have one, to link it to your Twitch account, because you get a free subscription. And I got an email this week that Twitch subscriptions are going up.
They are, yeah.
$7.99 a month from like $5.99 or $4.99.
Something crazy.
Yeah, so they're going up. So if you if you're aware, if you're able to absorb that part of Twitch inflation, that would be appreciated. But if not, just please make sure you have that Amazon account and your Twitch account linked, and you get Prime Gaming, and you get a subscription to a streamer of your choice. And with the prices going up even more, I would say please make sure you use that subscription, even if it's not on us. It's on a streamer you like to support. And you can check that out. You can watch us live on Twitch, like I just mentioned, twitch.tv/digitaldaysgaming. You can also watch us live on YouTube, youtube.com/digitaldaysgaming. You can listen to the show on YouTube. So if it's one of those things where you're more comfortable with YouTube working in your car or whatever device you listen to, you can get the audio-only version on YouTube with just our logo as like an image. Or you can watch the replay live stream on YouTube, as well as you can just subscribe to the podcast feed. You can do that at www.digitaldaysgaming.com. And you can go to that site and subscribe to there, and download the episodes, leave reviews if possible, check that stuff out. While you're at digitaldaysgaming.com, you can check out our link to the Discord, link to the Facebook server, Facebook group, and follow us on social media on Twitter, Facebook as well, and check those things out. Everything else is linked in the show notes, and we're going to jump right into it.
Yeah, I'm going to jump into first a news story. We took a week off last week just because Dave was out of town, and there wasn't much that we missed. But the biggest story was the story of the Hi-Fi Rush studio, Tango Gameworks, being acquired by Krafton, the makers of PUBG, the publishers of Callisto Protocol. They acquired Tango Gameworks and the IP of Hi-Fi Rush. Doesn't sound like they were able to acquire the other IPs that Tango Gameworks was known for. I forget, what is it? Soul Suspect and something else. Or Tokyo Ghost. So they weren't able to acquire those, but they got Hi-Fi Rush. Sorry, Dave was distracting me in the video, and I was trying to read and seeing what is Dave doing in the background? But yeah, so a lot of people were wondering, what does this mean? The studio was shut down in April. What are they acquiring? And it sounds like outside of IPs, they're also acquiring about 50 people, which is about a little less than half of the developers that were at the studio when the studio was up and running. So it sounds like for whatever reason, there is some form of studio still kind of functioning, or at least people that were maybe under contract for a certain amount of time that are going to stick with the studio and move over to Krafton.
Yeah, the main thing that they're known for is Evil Within. Before,
Evil Within, there we go.
Yeah, it was Evil Within in 2014, Evil Within 2 in 2017, Ghostwire Tokyo in 2022, and some iOS mobile game, Android game called Hero Dice, and then obviously in 2023 they made Hi-Fi Rush.
Yep. This makes sense. Hi-Fi Rush was probably their biggest commercial success. Quotes, you have to put it on it because it's in the Game Pass thing. They didn't really sell physical copies of it, and it's just one of those things where it's just critically their most successful game, and it seems like it was popular enough despite being limited to Xbox platforms at the time. Through Game Pass. So this is some good news. Studio is going to survive. It's a shame it took so long for this to happen because they ended up losing about half their talent, just because not everyone was able to be put on ice for the 4 months since it's been closed. But they're going to continue. They already said that they are hiring up because they need to, and are going to continue on Hi-Fi Rush as a franchise. So we should see some sequels for Hi-Fi Rush. Might be a couple years though, since they have to rebuild. But Dave, thoughts on a studio being resurrected?
I mean, I think at any time that like this is good. This is a major, like PUBG maker. You said they're the developer of PUBG, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's going to be some, at least some bankroll behind it, which should give some people some, peace of mind. I didn't play Hi-Fi Rush for long, a couple hours. I enjoyed what I played, but it didn't hook me enough to like want me to keep going. But it's kind of something I feel like is the double-edged sword that is Game Pass. I'm like, oh, it's there. It'll kind of always be there, so I'll play it later. But I'm happy that there's the opportunity for them to continue this franchise, and this is kind of similar to Toys for Bob, right?
Yeah, of a studio like Toys for Bob. At least they were able to separate before being closed, so they got to maintain all their talent. So this is a little. I wonder how far back these talks may have started, because it just seems kind of odd that they were shut down in like April or May, and the idea that like half their studio was still around to be acquired makes me think talks must have started a while ago. And it just might have finally closed. But yeah, this is similar to what happened with Toys for Bob, except it's happening after they potentially would have closed them.
I don't think it's like, I think it's somebody obviously a company looking at a studio and an IP and thinking there's enough of an opportunity on there, with it probably being closed. Also, I'm sure that the value decreased at that time, where Microsoft's like, yeah, whatever. Whatever they feel they have or didn't have at Hi-Fi Rush, or that Microsoft was willing to let it go. Like, to let go of Hi-Fi Rush means that they had no intentions or even small early builds of anything else that somebody else was working on with. They're like, yeah, you can have it, it's fine.
Yeah, which is uncorporate like, un-Microsoft like, which makes me wonder if this is partially just to get some goodwill for Microsoft, because.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Phil Spencer's
there's no reason for them to care.
Yeah, Phil Spencer's interview from Gamescom is weird. So
he's in a weird spot right now. Like everything that they do this seems very weird. So this feels like this is one of the things. There's no reason for Microsoft to care. I mean, obviously they didn't care if they shut the studio down, and Microsoft is, a big enough publisher. They have a graveyard of IPs. Yeah. So the idea that they were willing to let this go for anything, because money means nothing to Microsoft. So the idea that they were willing to even negotiate and let this go for any price just kind of shows that Microsoft maybe is just kind of looking for some goodwill right now, because, they promised that they wouldn't shut studios down, and then they did. Several studios. I feel bad for the studios that have been shut down by Microsoft recently and didn't get this opportunity. It's like Toys for Bob and Tango Gameworks are the only studios to kind of like survive and make it out. But yeah, no, this is good to see. This is definitely like some PR work for Microsoft, and kind of the new owners kind of just seen a deal. Especially Krafton, it's a South Korean publisher, and I can see some global appeal for Hi-Fi Rush, just with how vibrant that world is and how colorful it is, that I could see them seeing some potential in Hi-Fi Rush of like, if we put enough money behind this could be something, whether it ends up turning into like mobile games or something like that.
Yeah, I was actually kind of trying to do a little bit of looking here, because like I'd be curious about how much Hero Dice, how, I didn't realize they even like made a game. So
yeah, I honestly didn't know that either.
Yeah, so I'm trying to do some quick looking here and see how well it was or wasn't doing. I mean, 13,000 reviews looking really quickly on Google Play, like trying to find the game. It's on the Google Play store, 3.9 rating overall, 13,000 total. But then it also says Hero Dice to end service on August 31st in Japan. So, but that was June of 2022.
Yeah. Who knows? That also could have been one of those things where, once Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard and, Keen, they're just like, let's just shut down some of our other mobile games of the other properties that we purchased. So, who knows? But yeah, Hi-Fi Rush will live on, which is a good thing. That was a great game, and it was going to be a shame if we didn't see anything built upon that. Now you just have to worry that, they have the talent pool to make a sequel to that just as good, if not better.
Yeah, this is like a Dice RPG turn-based game. So.
Dave's diving deep into the Play Store. All right, next story is a little bit of follow-up. We were wondering how well college football was doing for EA.
No, I didn't wonder. I saw the numbers.
We were wondering how high
yeah.
it had hit, and we got word that it is the number one selling game of America for the year. So in the United States, it is number one. It has passed Helldivers 2 as a best-selling U.S. game of 2024. Little thing in here that is definitely very related is spending on consoles. The month college football came out, there was a 12% growth in total hardware sales, and you can most likely attribute it to college football. PlayStation 5s were up 25% year over year, and Xbox Series X and S were up 48%. The reason you can contribute this to college football is the Switch was down 44% from this time last year, and it is not on the Nintendo Switch.
And I would say 40% of that 48% for Xbox is the Series S.
Yeah, it's a big chunk of that. PlayStation 5 though, is still selling so much to where those numbers are probably very different numbers because we're doing year over year comparisons against themselves. But yeah, a lot of that can be contributed to college football.
I talk about periodically. I talk about my social media feed, or whatever. Old man is old. That's fine. My Facebook feed for the most part. When my Facebook feed starts, when I start seeing gaming from people that I don't normally see gaming from, that usually surprises me. It happens when GTA starts teasing something. It happened when Red Dead Redemption 2 came out. It's happening when college football came out. There was something else. Final Fantasy remake. There was little little things of marquee major stuff that I'm like, wow, that guy plays video games sometimes. I didn't know that. And the predominance of my social media feed for college football surprisingly was Xbox. Truly was Xbox. Dynasties, a couple dynasties that I'm in are in Xbox right now. I haven't started the DDG dynasty because multiple reasons. I haven't started any DDG dynasty, whether it's on Xbox or PlayStation, just because I'm still trying to learn the game again as well. And and there's been some chatter in the group and some not chatter in the group, so it's fine. It's something that we probably still will start and see how it goes, but a lot of the chatter has been around Xbox, and it just might be one of those things where, especially with the lack of crossplay in Online Dynasty, that you start seeing a domino effect. Okay, two of my friends have it on Xbox, one of them has it on PlayStation. Okay, I'm going to go get an Xbox. Or I'm going to buy college football. And then they start exploring where they get it from. Oh, it doesn't work on PS4, it doesn't work on Xbox One. Okay, so then the next thing is, everybody I know talks about PlayStation. The PS5 is $450 for the digital right now? Yeah, so $450 for the digital version. Keep in mind, this person only wants to play college football. And then Xbox Series S is $300.
Yeah, and I told you when I went into a GameStop for unrelated reasons, I literally saw multiple people pick up a Series S, and one of them did say, what is the cheapest way for me to play this game? And the answer was a Series S. But overall, PlayStation 5 saw some really good growth during this month too, and that just shows you the power of this franchise. I wonder if you're EA right now, you're probably thrilled because this is huge. This is a huge tentpole franchise you haven't had for a decade. Mm-hmm. That now you can say we are going to release one every year. I do wonder because Madden's not out yet, right?
It is. It's last week. It's getting slammed.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's getting. Yeah. So I was going to say I haven't heard shit about Madden.
The only thing that I've heard about it is comparing it to college football, and it's everybody's it feels heavier and slower.
Yeah. So I wonder what college football's results are going to, or sales are going to do for Madden's in terms of. I don't think it's going to kill Madden. It'll
increase. Madden will have an increase over last year. I'm telling you, it'll have.
I think it would. It might be a decrease.
But because of being able to bring your creative player over from college to pro, and they were selling the deluxe version a super great deal for $150. You could get both college football deluxe and Madden deluxe for $150 total. You can get two $100 versions of the game for $150.
I wouldn't be surprised based on how many people are like, what's the cheapest way for me to play this game?
Yeah.
Might not jump into Madden. I can see this being a thing where Madden's first month sales are lower year over year, but I can see the second, third, and fourth month of Madden being higher year over year as people get through college football.
I think we're going to see a spike in Madden sales. It'll be in conjunction. I'd be very like they'll probably never tell us the data, but like X amount of college 25 players were moved
They'll tell
into
us if
Madden.
it's huge.
Yeah,
they'll tell if it's huge.
So I think that there's the potential there. This could also I do think it is very tangibly possible that somebody that maybe had been playing Madden in 2017, 2018, 2019 that walked away from it and now came back to college football is like, oh, now I can take my guy there. Oh, I remember I like football. Let me go get Madden. So
I'm saying that will happen, but it'll be a couple months from now.
Yeah.
So I think those later months, year over year, is going to be really do well for Madden.
But in the end, all it's going to mean now is as a corporation, like EA will probably have 2 games in the top 10.
Yeah.
By the end of the year. So
then the occasional Star Wars game in there as well that will probably sell well enough. And
the really scary part is I'd have to look to make sure I'm right or not. I think Madden's on PC. So with this success of college football currently, why wouldn't there be a PC version next year?
I would imagine there would be one next year. But I think it just came down to the amount of manpower they were able to put into college football just to get it out this year.
Yeah, no, I know that for sure. But seeing how much of that sells, yeah. So
unless they're worried that's going to mess with NIL stuff of this, no, people will mod the hell out of their game and they'll never need a reason to pick it up again.
I keep forgetting. So it's Madden. It's Madden 25, isn't it now?
Don't they do a year ahead because the Super Bowl ends the following year? Yeah. So it'd be Madden 25. But there's been 2 Madden 25s. Remember there was Madden 25.
Yeah. I shared that on my Facebook thing the other day.
So.
I'm just looking at so Madden 25 is on PC.
Yeah.
It's just trying to see so I hope my biggest improvement that I want to see from college football 25 to college football 26 is I want to see a PC version and I want to see full crossplay. Those are the 2 features that I want. Everything else can be copy and paste. I think what a lot of people are forgetting is the atmosphere and the fun that college style of sports provide. Different stadiums, different uniforms. The NFL is the NFL, and you know who the great players are. You know who the great teams are. And trying to build a team doesn't have the same feeling to it. It's everybody. There's 32 NFL teams. There's 130 college football teams.
Yeah, I also think it comes down to just the NFL over the years has become just so sterile.
Yeah,
so
the game has become sterile. Yeah. I think that in terms of me as an NFL fan and seeing the increase in popularity of the NFL as a sport, I think is phenomenal in terms of and maybe that goes hand in hand with more success with the Lions personally. But I agree with you. Madden is 2K, 2K is NBA 2K, NBA 2K is Madden. How many times can you redo this? And this feels new and fresh to where I'd almost be wondering if EA would, and these sales won't support it for my position here of let's do every other year for college and then release some $20 roster update or something, Yeah,
but then you won't get your PC version.
Right. I know. So
yeah.
But no, I mean I've said that about Madden, do a 3-year cycle. I think for the most part 3 years might be pushing it, but it might get to the point where you could actually have some really cool different features or dynamics or something you could truly work on and build from the ground up and not try to just shovelware into the game because you have to get it out every 11 months.
Unfortunately,
yeah.
So college football next year will probably be pretty good because they'll probably have the network features that you want, stuff that should have been there this year. And then by year 3 or 4 of college football, it's going to be are they really just giving us a roster update? Because there's no way to do a yearly cycle. Right. They had a couple years to work on this game.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason this game took so long.
Yeah, you can't add some new dynamic feature to it. I mean, it's football is football is football, basketball is basketball, basketball, baseball is baseball is baseball. There's not okay, we're gonna throw the football backwards now. You can't do that. So.
Yeah. But there's enough stuff to do, especially if they want to do campaign stuff. There's so much potential to go in on that if they want to, or they're just going to do roster updates because this made so much money to where they're they'd be silly not to do this yearly, at least for as long as they can. And it's EA, so they will do it yearly for as long as they can. And it's going to sell well no matter what. So EA went from a company, they were talking about like, man, we don't know what we're doing with Battlefield, Need for Speed, all these franchises, and now college football is like probably not saved them because they weren't in trouble like that, but this is definitely going to give them new life. And also, if you're a fan of those other franchises, you got to be worried about like those studios now becoming auxiliary studios to support college football and Madden. Because again, EA would be silly not to just put all their effort into what's successful, especially something as easy as EA Sports college football. Like, college football is an easy thing for them to do and release every year. The only thing they have to worry about is renegotiating likeness rights probably every year.
And based on them coming out and saying how well this is sold, they're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah, that $500 most players were getting is probably going to need to be increased. All right, the next story. We basically just got a bunch of release dates over the last couple days with Gamescom and side stuff. But the first release date we'll talk about is Dragon Age Veilguard is set for October 31st. Dave, it's actually coming out this year. I had my doubts, but it's actually coming out. BioWare released a trailer with a release date on it, and then also a roadmap. But not roadmap like we're going to talk about with Concord, but a roadmap in terms of content drops where they'll do developer Q&As, so the PC specs, some high-level gameplay, that sort of thing. So they have stuff basically every couple weeks for Veilguard to build up the hype and lead to the October 31st release date. This is a perfect way for them to build up hype, especially they, release date barely will crack Dave's 90-day rule if it's not just horribly under it. So this is just a way for them to build up hype because they have been keeping things a mystery, and it allows players to at least know, because of the roadmap, you know exactly what each event is going to cover. So if you want to stay away from spoilers, you definitely can. There's going to be a companions week, so if you don't want to know too much about your companions or romance options, hey, skip that week of content. The week after that, there's a developer Q&A, and they're just going to keep going like that every week, every other week, with new content. Dave, I know you're not the biggest Dragon Age fan or have never played a Dragon Age game.
Yeah, I have never played a Dragon Age, but this art style and everything is very intriguing to me. Like, I'm watching a couple trailers right now. Yeah. This might be something that I attempt.
And they've done a pretty good job where you don't need to really have played the previous games. This one, maybe a little more so, you have to play the previous games, but they do a really good job of letting you know the events of the previous game.
Mm-hmm. So like some of this hack and slash stuff and the art style of this looks very interesting to me. And I would love to lose myself in a 20 or 30 hour RPG that I want to come home and play for 2 hours every other day or something like that. Like, I would love to get my attention span focused back on something like that. So like, this is very intriguing and very interesting to me for sure. And
Dragon Age has always been one of those RPGs where if you just want to get 20 hours out of it, you definitely can. And if you want to get a little bit more out of it, you can definitely do that. So this could be your first Dragon Age game, especially if you have a PC or always looking for stuff to play. They did say it is Steam Deck approved, which means your ROG Ally will probably handle that pretty well. So they have been making sure that this can hit whatever platforms they need to hit, and that mobile awesome. PC market seems to be hitting its stride right now, with a lot of developers being like, hey, this will work portably. So, hey, Dave, this could be your first Dragon Age. I look forward to watching Sarah play it because that's how I've interacted with pretty much all the Dragon Age games. It's just a popcorn movie for me, basically, how I interact with Dragon Age. But yeah, the game looks good. I was surprised that we got a release date for this year. I was really expecting this to...
I was going to say, Halloween's a weird day too, but it's just a Tuesday. Like, that's just a coincidence, though.
Yeah, and I think Dragon Age fans will get a kick out of it being out on Halloween.
Yeah, I think I was actually surprised. Like, and I think I saw some trailer for this, whether it was like a YouTube ad for me or something like that, or a Twitch ad. Like, and then I think I was trying to either fast forward or get by it, and then I saw like the last clip, and I'm like, was that a date? I was like, wait a minute. It's like,
especially when they started talking about, hey, we're gonna talk about a release date. I was really like, they're gonna let us down. Like, they're gonna say,
shoving it into some weird spot though. Like, I'm happy it's come. but that's kind of sandwiched in between some serious slices of bread there.
It's got its own fan base. Like this Dragon Age will probably end up being a top 10, top 15 game sales wise for the year. So EA is going to have a really good year with college football leading the way.
I forgot that they're doing this too. So like you might be talking about 3 or 4 games for, like 3, like maybe even half the list. Like, because I mean, talking about FIFA and Madden and college and Dragon Age and something else in there. Like,
yeah, they're doing well for a company that last year were just like, damn, they're trying to sell themselves and trying to like separate the studios. But yeah, so we got our release date for Dragon Age. We got a roadmap for content info dumps from Dragon Age. And that leads us to the game that's coming out tomorrow, Concord.
Tuesday for some people, like 2 days ago.
2 days ago? For pre-order
like deluxe editions,
yeah. I haven't heard too much about Concord, but again, a lot of the reviews were embargoed because it's a multiplayer game, so you need to see the game in the wild in order to properly review it. But the developers did share their roadmap last week for the multiplayer shooter. First up, the game is launching with 6 modes, 12 maps, 16 free gunners, and 8 variants. October will be the launch of Season 1, which will feature 1 new map, 1 new free gunner, and multiple variants, new vignettes, and cosmetics. January will offer the same amount of content and Season 2 will launch in January and have the same amount of content. And there's a hint of Season 3 coming in April 2025. So they're at least... It's weird. Their roadmap showed full clearly, like, hey, Season 1, Season 2. And then Season 3, it was kind of like faded and like just like cut off image sort of thing, which almost makes me feel like it gives them an out. If the game's not successful, they won't have to support it past April. But yeah, the roadmaps are important, Dave. Like we always talk about, if you're going to do this game, you need to let us know what to expect. This doesn't have a battle pass. This is a like $40 game, so it's different sort of roadmap expectations. But what do you think about what they're planning for Concord, despite whatever you might think of the game day one right now?
I think that like in terms of what they're trying to plan and a $40 thing where you have no battle pass system, which means like, I guess I don't know. The problem that I have with some of it at its core foundation is though, it's like, oh, it's $40 price point. Like this has got like delayed seasons written all over it, in my opinion, because you're not paying for something. So like, therefore, you're not spending like $100 on a version of a game that you're getting 3 seasons promised to you or 4 seasons promised to you, to where like stuff gets shoveled out. Now it could be a chance for potentially better seasons. Somebody recently delayed seasons. I had a game that came out like in the last year or two and delayed a season. I can't remember right now, but and they got some flack for it because it was like paid for contribute stuff.
Multiversus did that at one point, like twice last year.
I also think that just again, like I know you were like, my personal opinion, like playing a game to unlock skins and cosmetics is not doing it for me. Yeah. Like me personally, that's, like that's not a thing. And got a couple of my friends that are like, oh, it's made by a lot of ex-Destiny people. Yep. And I gave it a shot and I played it, and it feels more, it feels more hero shooter than class shooter.
Shooting feels pretty good. I would count that to Destiny people, but
I would agree, but I also don't feel that the gun shooting is the focal point of the game.
No, and I was going to get to that.
That's
it
kind
feels
of my
good,
core
as in
problem
that's what
with
they
it.
can do.
Yeah.
Like if you're from Bungie, you can make guns feel good, but
things
meaningful?
go pew.
Yeah. Meaningful is a different question.
I'm still sticking with a little bit of character overload feeling, like 16 free gunners and 8 variants. That's 24 characters in theory.
The variants thing is kind of bullshitty. If you remember when we talked about that, but 16 free gunners seems like a lot. So you're gonna die pretty frequently until you find the ones you're comfortable with, and that could be annoying for some people, but.
I'm hearing early first impressions. It's a love-hate thing entirely. It's unfortunate. It seems that the Steam charts are broken for this right now, because like all it shows is 0, like 0.
Man, I mean, there was
0. So
I know, and there's probably some devs that are playing it, so it should at least say like
Yeah.
50 or something.
So I mean, like, there's like it's got to be broken now because it's been like 3 days, and I find it hard to believe that nobody on PC like pre-ordered the deluxe edition and is playing it. Like I have a really really hard time with that. But and the other thing too is that
It's
they're
still
kind of
broken. Which
yeah,
is,
I was just checking now too. Like they're they're kind of going after like I've said this before. Like Sony's going after the PC player wrong. At this point in time, like if you're gonna require PSN sign-ons, like I've said this before with a lot of the acquisitions that they made and stuff like that, like just make your own game launcher. People will be more accepting of having to link accounts and stuff like that with a game launcher than they will be forcing a PSN link to activate.
Unfortunately, Bethesda found out the hard way. A lot of companies have tried to do it.
Yeah, I mean Ubi's done it,
yeah.
EA's done it, Blizzard, Activision, Blizzard.
It's not the most successful thing to do, but yeah.
I mean, and whether people like it or don't like it, like the PC crowd is a very important crowd to this game. To this game's success, the PC crowd is vital. Early on, a couple people have told me their queue times on PlayStation 5 are very short. That's great. I'm more worried about what this game's going to be like October 1st and November 1st and December 1st. And the next piece of history you can look at as I'm digging around on Steam charts is Helldivers 2. Everybody's like, oh, look at the success of Helldivers 2. Okay, so 274,000 average players in the February when it came out. 217,000, 142,000, 65,000. Like from April to May, 142 down to 65,000. PSN link requirement came out around that time. 41,000, 23,000, and then you jump up in the last 30 days to 26,000 because they released some type of update. These are, this Helldivers in March and April was like touted as like Game of the Year contender, and now it's not. It's not going to win. It's not going to finish in the top 10 of anything. Maybe best multiplayer game. Maybe.
It'll probably get most. It's a weak year for multiplayer games, and Helldivers is really good. It'll be there for multiplayer. Looking at Concord right now on just Twitch, it right now it only has 5.7 thousand viewers on Twitch right now, which means the thing that we talked about, like if PlayStation was serious about this, they would have paid streamers to like marathon stream the shit out of this game, and it doesn't seem like they put that investment in, unless they're like, hey, we're only going to put that investment in official day one, as opposed to deluxe edition day one. But it's not looking good in terms of like player counts for Twitch, and I wonder how quick you can load into a game. I think I might still pick this game up just for curiosity's sake, but
I need to see some PC player counts before I do it. Just like to your point, like just glancing at a couple things that I pay attention to on Twitch. Okay, like we all know I pay attention to Destiny. 3.5K viewers currently right now on Destiny. A 10-year-old game that's not launching this week. I had never even heard of this. Michael and I have never even talked about this, but I've seen so much chatter on this in the last week. Black Myth Wukong. I'm probably saying it wrong.
That game's a huge game right now.
Yeah, it's 131,000 people on Twitch. Came out the same time as Concord. Hunt Showdown just got some new update. 31.8K. Fortnite's Fortnite at 55K. Warframe is holding a 5.2K viewer on Twitch. Elden Ring is 13,000. I'm just glancing through some stuff.
Helldivers is down to 568. Should be mentioned. So definitely, Helldivers has fallen off there, but comparing it to those other games, it's not looking good for Concord. And before anyone says anything, we're not rooting against Concord or anything like that.
No, I want it to succeed. I want new IPs to succeed. I'm tired of remakes. I'm tired of remasters. But I don't know, people are, I don't care about the PC crowd. You have to care about the PC crowd. This is why Sony bought Firewalk.
Yeah, but also you can not care about the PC crowd. PlayStation gamers stream to Twitch. PlayStation fans use Twitch, so the idea that it's not doing good on Twitch right now is not good. PC numbers are a mystery. We'll have to see where it lands on the PlayStation sales charts for the PlayStation Store, because that's going to be the ultimate telling thing for how well is it on PlayStation. Is it going to be a top 5 game? Like a PlayStation game, a first-party PlayStation game should probably be top 5 for the PlayStation Store.
Is one new free gunner and one new map every 3 months enough?
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I don't like their variant system. They do say variants, so multiple variants will release every 3 months. But again,
but you're saying you're kind of telling me that's just another skin, right?
Kind of feels like it. It's a different skin, and they have one different ability than the original character does.
Yeah.
So, like, is that enough? I would rather unlock that different ability on the character that I've been working on, as opposed to a character that looks like that character with a different jacket. I don't know. I'm worried about Concord. I think it's good that they put a roadmap out. It at least shows people like, hey, we do have plans for content until April, so you can pick up this game, and there's a little bit of security that you will get new content over the next couple months.
Yeah, I'm just worried like what this means for like fair games. Like,
yeah,
in terms
and fair
of, like,
games also has a generic name, like Concord does. We don't know what it is. If Concord does bad, it's going to leave a stink on the PlayStation's attempt at live service games. And
on top of the heels of the Bungie crap.
On top of the heels of Bungie crap, on top of Naughty Dog's game being canceled.
Yep.
So people do look at the publisher and developer of things and be like, well, I'm not going to bother with that. And then if you're on PC, you have to worry about signing into PSN and stuff like that.
Well, my biggest fear with a game like this, like, okay, so let's say like in 2 or 3 weeks, like I do decide to pick this up or we pick it up and we're playing it. The learning curve of a game like this in terms of all the class character or the heroes, whatever you want to call them, and a small player base. Like, do you know what that equals in my mind, Michael?
Get good.
Or getting my ass kicked.
Yeah.
And that means I just don't want to play anymore. Like, if I don't feel like I can compete or hang.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind losing.
You're going to have to hope matchmaking is good, but you're also going to have to hope the game's popular enough that you have new people to matchmake against.
Yeah, so it's I want this game to succeed. There are people that I have personally met and talked to that are working on this game. I want this game to succeed on my heart level. My head and business acumen is telling me early on stats don't look great.
Do you think it launches on PlayStation Plus before or after Season 2?
It launches on PS Plus before Call of Duty 6 comes out.
That could be a route to go. Because that would be a smart move, because you will have some PlayStation fans that are like, I'm not playing Call of Duty because that's a Microsoft studio. Not a lot of people, but you'll have some people, so they'll revenge play Concord if it's free for them.
I'm putting that down right now. I don't even remember. Call of Duty, I'm assuming, is like November 6th, 10th, or 13th or something like that. Concord will, Concord will be on Plus before November's Plus games are announced.
It is October 25th.
Okay.
Which the first season is October, right? Is that what we just said?
Yeah, I thought you said, yeah.
Yeah, October will be season 1. So will it make it to season 1? So it'll be season 1 comes out, a couple weeks pass, and then they're like...
Or it'll be like, hey, it's on sale for like $10 for Plus members.
That would be wild. I almost feel like that would be more a red flag for some users.
Yeah. So.
But I can see it going to that middle tier. I'm not saying it goes to the essentials tier, like the main tier, but it goes to that middle tier. And people are just like, oh,
either that or like so the absolute worst case, and I'm like sitting here saying like 3 different things, but they release some type of cosmetic pack that's free for Plus members. Like
I think that's already going to happen.
Yeah.
That if that already hasn't happened, it will. But I see them. I think they get through season 1. If it's by the time they get to January for season 2 is when we'll probably see like, hey, we're on essentials, or not essential. We're on extras for PlayStation Plus. I don't see the game going full free to play. No. Though if it goes to PlayStation Essentials or extras, what do you do for the PC players? Do you just like go Epic Game Store? Like
they have to. That's who Sony's invested in.
Yeah, they're just gonna have to be like, hey, or I guess on PC you can do free to play weekends to try and incentivize people.
Yeah,
so that's possible. But yeah, we'll move on from Concord. We want it to be successful. It's just not looking good early on for it. Well, I'll probably pick it up next week and mess around with it. But yeah, let's move on to Gamescom. This is Geoff Keighley's big German show that sometimes doesn't feel like it has a purpose. he started this one last, like he's been doing the last couple years when he does a show of like, hey, don't get too excited, which is always a great way to hype people up for a show.
Please don't be excited.
Yeah, it's like, chill out, guys. When you have to start going through a list of things that won't be there, it definitely hurts your show. But there were some announcements in here, some new game reveals that I marked. A lot of indie stuff that looked pretty cool that I recommend just looking up one of those highlight articles to get some of the smaller games. We're only going to talk about the bigger stuff here. The first one is Supermassive Games announce Directive 8020, a horror game set in space, set in a space station. The game is part of the Dark Pictures series. I don't believe they're saying it's like a Dark Pictures anthology game, just a Dark Pictures universe game. So there might be some little differentials with how they're presenting that. But yeah, I thought this was a Dead Space remake or a Callisto Protocol sequel before I saw Supermassive was working on it, and then it clicked in my head of like, oh, this is a Dark Pictures game. But it looks really good, super hyper realistic. I like the Dark Pictures anthology series, so this is something I could definitely see myself pick up. Dave, I think you should try some of the Dark Pictures games.
You have to remind me of some of them are. So.
Because Angela likes watching you play some of the games, and I think she would get a kick out of like the point and click aspects of it, of like making decisions. And there's different like horror stories, so you can find a genre that's a little bit more friendly. Yeah, like the haunted ghost ship for the first one is actually pretty good. I don't know if you would like the occult stuff in the second game. But the first one definitely is pretty cool like that. But yeah, more from Supermassive Games. I'm glad that the studio's been able to survive since like, Until Dawn making these type of games. It's just really cool to see them keep going with them.
Right.
The next thing that we saw, which was a funny announcement if you think about it, Borderlands 4 was announced for a 2025 release window. The reason I say it's funny is because Borderlands the movie fucking bombed so bad they're taking it out of theaters after about 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's like showing up on streaming services already, I heard.
Yeah. So the announcement probably would have been a bigger announcement if it was further away from the bomb that is the movie, or if the movie was actually successful in any meaningful way. But Dave, Borderlands 4 coming in 2025. If they hit that date, that's pretty cool. But
yeah, I mean, I've never finished a Borderlands game. I've enjoyed them. I played a lot of the Handsome Jack collection. It was super cheap once, or on PS Plus, or I got it for like $10 or something like that. And then I did have some significant good times with Borderlands 3. And then it kind of like, I feel like it butted up against some type of Destiny release or something like that, and it held my attention until something else grabbed my attention. I'll be curious. Like, I don't know if the over the top story mode is kind of like for me, but like I do recall having some fun and having a good time with it. It's just one of those things again that I don't feel like, I think that at its core, very few games have actually, I don't want to say no game, but very few games have actually been able to grab that balance where it's fun cooperatively and it's you can still feel like you're progressing solo. When I would fall behind my friends and I would like I'd have to go to work for like a weekend or something like that, and I was level 10, and then I come back and I get home Sunday night and my buddy is level like 48, or he's already maxed the character out and I'm still level 10. That's when I'm like, okay, I'm done. So
they fixed the balance as the series went on. I remember I played the first one and I started to not have fun with the first one because I was playing with people that were higher level and they were just like shredding through things. So they worked on that balance over time, but as they worked on that balance to make co-op better, the story and writing for me got really cringe and bad, and then I just fell off the series. Like, what was the pre-sequel is where I fell off. So the third game technically.
I think having an open world game that's also significantly story driven is very hard to pull off. It's very hard to pull off.
Also, comedy in video games is really hard to pull off, and just didn't hit for me because we come to our games for different aspects. I come for story, and you come for like that core gameplay. I can deal with a shooter that's kind of shitty, but if it's got a good story, I'll go through it, and you want that You want those.
Well, but if a good story for me will
loop.
take care of all. A great story for me will hide all gameplay mechanic issues that I have. It's the problem of what is Borderlands trying to be? Is Borderlands trying to be a looter shooter? Is it trying to be a campaign looter? Is it trying to be a looter that has endgame? And the answer is yes. And they're trying to do 3 or 4 things, and essentially kind of trying to do a service game, but a box service game. And I mean by that is you buy it once and you're fine. They don't really have seasonal stuff, but they have this like, hey, we have this event, and like
they had the locker codes thing.
Yeah,
I remember people dropping codes randomly.
Yeah, gold keys or gold key codes and stuff. So like that balance is so hard to find, and they hit it at the right time with 1 and 2. Like, and they did a great job with 1 and 2, and then I think that they kept trying to just reiterate on the same thing over and over and over again, and it's kind of one of those definitions of the possibly the franchise being beat to death, of where it's like, Borderlands 3 and the pre-sequel and the Handsome Jack collection and Tiny Tina's Wonderland,
which is something I feel like they're just like brushing over, like that was a gas leak year of just like, Tiny Tina happened. It was the thing, people were really excited about getting a spin-off game, and then it came out and people were just quietly like, this, no, didn't happen.
Yeah, and then onto your point, on the heels of it, the movie not doing well, like, yeah.
Not just not doing well, but being a historical box office bomb. Like, it's up there with like
some
biggest
big
bombs.
names in it, too.
Yeah. Yeah. That all just felt out of place, and we're just, cashing a check.
Yeah.
If I was Gearbox, I would have held on to this announcement to the Game Awards. I wouldn't have done it. Like, if they already paid for the contract of everything, of like, hey, the movie's hitting in early August, we're going to hit Gamescom at the end of August with the announcement, I would have messaged Keighley of like, you can keep the check. Can we hold this to Game Awards? Because we don't want it near the stink of the movie. Because right now, if you type in Borderlands and Google News, half the stories are Borderlands 4 and the other half are Borderlands worst movie of the year.
Yeah.
Like, it is a bad time. And the
concern also has to be, like, didn't Gearbox just buy its freedom?
They did,
yeah,
I believe.
So, like, they're in mid-development of this game, or in 80% done, right? Like, in terms of why they're buying their freedom. So, I'd be very like, they got to sign some kind of publishing deal soon, right?
I gotta look up who kind of acquired them.
Yeah.
Oh no, Take-Two bought them, so they have a publisher.
Okay.
Take-Two officially took care of them, so they have Grand Theft Auto money now.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things where if you're Take-Two, you bought them earlier this year, you're like, okay, cool, we got a movie. Shit. Okay, fuck. All right, we got a new game, and if that game doesn't hit, you're gonna look at that.
Yeah, and in the end
company.
too, the concern is like all they did was show the Borderlands mask. Like they didn't show anything else. And if you're a year and a half away, you can't show like a redesigned Hunter. I don't know if that's even a thing in that game. I'm sorry.
Psycho or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's an aspect of the thing where it's like you have to wonder, like, was this trailer thrown not that trailers can be thrown together that quickly, but
where the hell is Claptrap?
Yeah, like, I just need to know, like, okay, was this planned all along for the movie? And it was like, well, too late, the wheels are in motion. We thought the movie was going to be big, so we're going to drop a teaser. Or was the teaser made because they're just like, shit, we got to get people stop talking about this movie.
Yeah.
And we don't know. Then we'll just move on. The next big thing, Dying Light: The Beast, coming in 2025 from Techland. This is a new standalone Dying Light game with the main protagonist from the first one, Kyle Crane, coming back. It does sound like it is a smaller experience. They're saying it's about a 20-hour game. So they are trying something different. They're not putting a number on it. So this isn't a full-blown sequel. This is just a side story sort of scenario or something. But yeah, Dying Light: The Beast coming next year. A lot of these 2025 release dates I don't believe exactly, but Dave, I remember, we were interested in the Dying Light games back when they were first being shown, but I think the thing that scared us away from those games were how long they ended up being, especially Dying Light 2 turned into like this massive hour sink. So I don't know about you, Dave, but hearing like a 20-hour or shorter Dying Light games has my interest peaked more than if they announced Dying Light 3.
I agree.
Because I just don't have the time sometimes for some of these like open world sort of games.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, Dying Light, The Beast is coming out in 2025. The next thing we got is Marvel Rivals. Has a release date of December 6th. All the heroes are going to be, available day one. The game is free to play, and it's coming to all the platforms that you would expect a live service game to come to. Dave, did you see anything for Marvel Rivals that has you at least willing to download it, or would you download it if Owen was interested in it?
Yeah, probably if Owen was interested in it, but I mean, there's nothing I'm seeing right now.
No. At least it's out of the way of Concord, a little bit. So Concord has some breathing room before Marvel Rivals kind of takes over the space. But yeah, Marvel Rivals looks pretty good. Everything I see about it is just like, hey, this is Overwatch, but with brand. But that's not a bad thing, especially with Overwatch being down. After that, we got Peter Molyneux returning to games with a new God Sim game, Masters of Albion. I only put this in here because Peter Molyneux is a big enough name. Him returning to games is interesting. I just wasn't really interested in Masters of Albion too much, but I like hearing Peter Molyneux talk and then also make promises that I know he won't deliver on, as is tradition. I'm assuming God Sims aren't going to be your thing, Dave, so we can move on to the bigger piece of the conference. Indiana Jones has a release date of December 9th for the Xbox Series S, X, and Game Pass. And the big, oh shit reveal, I guess is how they were trying to pitch it, is it is also coming to PS5 spring 2025. Two questions, Dave. First question, how do you feel about a December release date?
Terrible.
And second question, what do you think of PlayStation 5 release just about 6 months afterwards?
Don't care.
Nothing. Fine.
I've seen. Okay, so there's actually not as much bad chatter on this as I thought there would be this week. At least not that I saw.
Because I think they announced, the window.
Yeah.
So.
But. And I'm when I speak this, I'm aware that I feel like this has been counterpointed already in the pulled court documentation of the Activision Blizzard acquisition, bringing up the Bethesda stuff. I think that this was a foregone conclusion for them to pay for this license or to get this IP.
6 months seems pretty light. That's the only thing that throws me off of shit, that's way quicker than I thought it would be. Yeah,
I agree, but I think that even based on what Phil Spencer said in one of his interviews, clips of his interviews, he kind of in no uncertain words said the board said I have to sell the games.
And that's something that we've been kind of feeling since they did that weird sit down podcast video a couple months ago.
He's had a couple weird quotes about the board and the growing and how the industry's flat, but we're trying to grow it and that they have the most console players ever, which I think is a stretch. I'm not really sure how he's what they're defining as console players. No, I don't think that it's Owen plays Minecraft on the Switch, he counts as an Xbox console player. I don't think that's how that works.
I honestly think that's how they would count it.
So you would they count Owen as playing on cross playing on the Switch, the PlayStation, the Xbox as 3 different users?
He is, yeah. I mean, if you're trying to squeeze numbers, probably.
Okay, and then they would all be Xbox console players?
They're Xbox players on a console. You got to think scummy, marketing person. They're hey, this person is loading an Xbox application.
Yeah.
On what?
Yeah, I'll still be... Well, there's not an Xbox application. I mean, they're loading an Xbox game.
No, but every game is called an app, so that sort of thing. They're opening an executable that is a Xbox.
I got you. I mean, I'd be very... I know what he said, and I when he said it, I kind of scratched my head on it. I like what he said about, in terms of growing the business and doing what's best for their IPs, and they think that they have some very predominant IPs, and whether you like it or not, Indiana Jones is a predominantly IP name. I also feel like this almost guarantees Blade's coming to PlayStation.
Oh, Hellblade! Yeah, I think.
No, Blade. just Blade.
Oh,
Marvel's
Blade. Okay, I thought you meant Hellblade.
I
Blade
think Hellblade 2 is coming as well, because there's going to be a certain point in time where, through like whether like whatever buzzwords you want to use, but from Microsoft's standpoint of a continuous improvement standpoint, which is something that a lot of companies use. Like when Phil Spencer has to stand in front of the board and show game sales and show Game Pass, and they're like, okay, Game Pass is growing. I'm just hypothetically saying this. They're seeing Game Pass is growing, but then they kind of point over there at software, like, how do we get software to grow? And then he tries to point back to Game Pass, and they're like, okay, the board members like, we're just talking about software. Like, how do you get the software line to grow? Your subscriptions and services over there are fine. Like they're moving in the direction they want. The arrow is going up. I want to see the software sales go up. And then you're telling me that console sales can't go up. You're telling me that console sales won't go up. As a board member, Phil Spencer's like, console sales are not going to go up. Phil Spencer's pitching the console market is flat. PlayStation begs to differ. I know that.
And Nintendo's like, what are you talking about?
Correct. So Spencer goes back to Game Pass, and the board members go back to software. Sell more software. And he goes, okay, the only way that we can sell more software is to expand the platforms. And they're like, sell more software. Yeah. That's what they're telling him. Yeah. So, and there's no harm. Like, I truly don't feel like there's any harm. I think that Microsoft and Xbox have accepted the fact that if you're going to play their first-party games on their boxes or on PC, you're going to play them through Game Pass. And if you're not, you're going to pay them $70 and play it on PC or play it on PlayStation. And they're okay with it because they're still getting their cut.
Yeah. I think what like shows that your point is valid is the fact that it is coming to PlayStation in spring 2025, and 6 months is just short enough time that you're not trying to tempt people on the other side to jump into your platform. You're telling them like it's okay to wait because you're not going to have to wait too long. Yeah. Which is basically them accepting like, hey, we're not really too worried about growing Game Pass at this point, and we're not worried about selling consoles. So just play our game when it's available. And if you're a diehard Xbox fan, hey, you get it 6 months early.
Right. And I can promise you this. Write it down again. Whatever you want to call this prediction show by me. So Thursday Night Football is on Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime just signed some deal with Xbox for the Fire Stick. Majority of people that are watching stuff on Prime are probably watching it through a Fire Stick. If you don't think there's going to be a significant amount of advertisement of play Indiana Jones on your Fire Stick with an Xbox controller, play it in December, through the whole month of October and November on Thursday Night Football, you're crazy. Like
there's going to be a thing where after an NFL game ends, they're going to be like, hey, tap this button to launch Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have a controller, they'll be like, hey, tap this button on your remote and it's going to launch a video game. Thanks for watching the NFL. Mm-hmm.
And that's the most watched thing. It's going to be the most watched thing on Amazon. Amazon wants to sell more Fire Sticks. Xbox wants to sell more Game Pass subscriptions. So it's going to happen. And it's probably going to happen on the other networks too. Like, I can't wait to start seeing some of the I can't wait to see the marketing between Amazon and Microsoft. That is fascinating to me, and people aren't talking about it enough. Two mega corporations are now like, okay, we got to work together a little bit.
Yeah, and it's beneficial to both sides. Yep. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. So. I will say, the one thing I think it's fine that it's released in PlayStation in spring. That's good. I want everyone to play it. I do think it means like you said, they want software sales to go up, so they don't really give a shit about anything else at this point.
And they want them to go up in a
6
year.
Months. Yeah.
Yeah, they want to see the 12-month number.
Yeah. But I will say December 9th. This solidifies that Xbox fucking fumbled this year. Yep. Another year, Xbox has
this has to be October or November. This can't be December.
Yeah.
And on top of the fact you come out and say we need to let Avowed breathe.
Yeah.
And then you put Indiana Jones in December.
Yeah.
Like,
where most people that play during the holidays end up not playing shit and then have to play it in like January, February.
And there's not even some kind of like, I mean, unless there's something coming Indiana Jones that nobody knows about. Like, is Disney Plus gonna drop in October 1st? Like, watch the Indiana Jones miniseries starting November 1st.
No, because the movie bombed. So it's
I know, but I'm just like the December date like doesn't match up to me. Like we're not gonna get some movie announcement that's gonna drive sales.
Yeah.
Like the only thing I can think of is that there's some Disney Plus thing.
And there isn't, unfortunately.
I hope there is to justify this date, but I'm with you. I don't think there is, because I don't think Indiana Jones is a watchable franchise right now.
It's not until they
we'll find out if it's playable. I'm not saying it is or isn't playable. We'll find out.
Yeah. But man, like the last 3 years since the Bethesda acquisition, it's been like Microsoft can just have the greatest Xbox year, and then it doesn't happen, and then the next year it's like, well, it didn't happen last year, but look at all the games they released this year, and each year it doesn't happen, and yet we have another year where Xbox is. Hellblade came out. That's pretty much it. Hellblade came out, and it reviewed well, but no one talked about it because it was limited to, Xbox and, Game Pass, which has been kind of flat lately. So the idea that it was going to be well, you know what? They're going to hit us with Hellblade in the summer, Avowed in the fall, and then, maybe Indiana Jones fall, winter. And now it's no, it's Indiana Jones barely going to squeak by. And then that means Indiana Jones is going to be considered for any of the Game of the Year awards, because usually that's all wrapped up.
It'll be after the Game Awards will be aired, and then it'll come out.
Yeah.
And then this is on top of you can't you control the narrative because you own the studio and you're putting it on Game Pass. So you can truly control the narrative of the date of what you want, on top of what we just talked about at the beginning of the show, of you piggybacking off of a 45% console sale increase because of college football, or what believed to be college football. And now all of a sudden you have a significant amount of more boxes on the market and less of a reason. That's
Game
too
Pass
long.
Announced their September,
October, November. It's too long. Well, the Mafia is interesting to me.
The
definitive
remake.
edition.
Yeah, but maybe you get a college football player to be inside. But I'm talking about new releases, marquee releases.
Right.
They just don't have that to follow up college football, and they should have seen that coming. Of hey, college football is coming out. We need to get some content deals for some old content that these people might have missed because they haven't played a console game in 10 years. Yeah. Instead, your Mafia Definitive Edition.
Be a great time to figure out how to get GTA 5 back on Game Pass right now.
If it isn't already, it isn't right now, right? I would have to look.
I don't think so.
Yeah. But it's Xbox fumbled another year. Honestly, it's crazy. And there's a reason why Phil Spencer's out there doing awkward interviews, because he knows another year has been fumbled at Xbox. Mm-hmm. The last thing that we saw was the big reveal surprise is Mafia Old Country, revealed by 2K Games and Hainer 13. So yeah, we're gonna get a Mafia game set in Sicily, so the Old Country. There wasn't a lot shown, but the Mafia franchise has always been a pretty solid franchise. Anytime there's a Mafia sequel, I am a little surprised though that 2K is actually putting money into Mafia, because Take-Two, 2K, Grand Theft Auto, Mafia always just kind of felt like the little.
It moves the units brother. Though. Whatever
enough.
comes out, it does. Yeah.
Not crazy units, but
yeah. But I've even back to my E3 days, Mafia 3.
Yeah, it would have been Mafia 3. The
had
New
a
Orleans
huge
one.
booth. Booth.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I've never been at a E3 when a GTA's there, so I don't know what that would look like.
No. But
because none of us have been to E3 in over 11 years when GTA 5 came out 11 years ago, 12 years ago.
Yeah. I think I missed it by a year.
Yeah.
Like a year or two. But yeah, there's not much to say. It was a very brief trailer, but yeah, more Mafia games are always. I'm always happy for them. I don't usually play all of them or finish all of them, but just to see that Take-Two is at least making some other stuff outside of just being head on, hey, we're
and the Borderlands thing too. I mean, you got some decent stuff in there to set or circumvent GTA 6 coming or not coming.
Yeah. So this is a nice surprise. I feel like Keighley was expecting a bigger reaction to it, and I feel like Mafia has just been one of those serviceable franchises. I don't know anyone that gets super hyped or excited for a Mafia game, but I do know people that just enjoy them because they're fun open world games. But yeah, that was Gamescom. Nothing crazy. Overall, it was an okay show. It was 2.5 hours long. Keighley really needs to figure out how to make a tight show. I'm including the pre-show, which was just kind of an awkward pre-show for everything. But yeah, that was Gamescom. That was our news section. And Dave, you might have to take us home because
Where's Darksiders?
You got the little teaser.
Yeah, but I thought that would have been for like Gamescom. Like, where's Darksiders?
It's gonna hold you over for a year.
Bullshit.
No Darksiders, Dave.
So nothing's been delayed that we're aware of. What we're playing and watching, mine'll be pretty tight. Overall, like the biggest takeaway I have from like spending this time, like going down. So we moved like Zoe, my daughter, back down to Kentucky to work on her master's program. Went to Kings Island in Cincinnati. Went to a Reds game. Saw my oldest son Jonathan, and just took some time and did some things. Stayed at a couple Airbnbs. Stayed at a hotel. Some of you guys might roll your eyes in the back of your head or whatever, but like I am super impressed with my ROG Ally the more I've actually been trying to push on it and get more out of it. Like I'm just like I hooked it up to the hotel Wi-Fi, I plugged it into the hotel TV, and it worked. And I did Xbox remote play on the cloud, very solid. I have that PS remote play on PS Play, I think it's called. Very solid. Like I was super impressed with just the ease of use, and it's still just like fascinating to me to hook a controller up to this thing to play a game or to play it in handheld or play Fortnite with Owen on the hotel Wi-Fi with us sitting next to each other while he's playing on the Switch and him fussing about his load times on the Switch versus my load times on my ROG Ally. Like mine being faster still.
Yeah.
Like and just to see like the things that they're doing to it, like you talked about the handheld market, the Steam like OLED, and there's even a stronger version of my ROG Ally, and I don't even know if I need it now. There's a new ZX1 or something like that just came out.
Yeah, I saw yours was on like kind of fire sale as they try and move.
Yeah, and I have the Z1. I think I have the Z1 Extreme, and then this is like the X Extreme or something, the newer one that's like $800 or $700. I don't remember. And like the one that I have is down to like $400 or $450, I think. But I'm trying to not necessarily like force myself is the wrong word, but I'm trying to like motivate myself to like, to not like fall back and realize the potential of what I have. Like it was so nice to take the Switch and the ROG Ally with us and have access to all of my consoles. Like it was, all of my digital library that I wanted. It was just very, very nice and comforting and easy just easy. Like, I mean, you Michael, you've done this before. Like touting a PlayStation 4 around is not easy.
No, it's not great. That's why the Switch has become my go-to thing. I end up playing the Switch kind of more than
I
play most consoles.
I think I am getting too old to play games in a car while somebody else is driving, though. Like I think I might be
I've never been able to do
much.
that.
Yeah,
I get a little nauseated.
Yeah, but I mean, college football on Xbox and PlayStation via remote play worked great. Fortnite on the ROG plugged into the hotel TV worked great. Like like Owen's been kind of like there's a Marvel update in Fortnite with like you have like Captain America's shield and you can throw it, and it's very powerful in the game, and it's very easy to
Doctor
obtain.
Doom stuff that they're doing looks pretty cool too.
Yeah, so it's just I've been just having a blast. Like I get it. Some people are like, oh, you love tech, and I do love tech, but I also like tech to work, and it works. And this mantra of PC gaming is hard. It's not. Just keep your updates. Like that's all. Make sure you just turn the thing on every 48 hours.
As long as you're not chasing the latest greatest, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's easy.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's kind of like playing and watching. I've watched a ton of the Little League World Series. If you don't watch a Little League World Series and you like baseball, like you're missing out. It's just entertaining. Just seeing some of the cool stuff, like the videos that they show of like the team from Cuba was in Pennsylvania, and they took them to McDonald's. They'd never been to a McDonald's before. Or they show a video of getting all their Easton gear and Adidas gear to play in the Little League World Series, and like that's the best bat these kids have ever swung, or the best glove that they've ever had. And it's always so cool, and just to see 12-year-olds in those situations with thousands of people watching them, and it's just awesome. Like that's the true like fun of the game part of just watching kids play, and it's great. And the Tigers got to play at the Little League thing, and they won a game on a walk off and everything like that, like last weekend. So it's been it's been fun. I'm super excited for college football and NFL football to start though. So
yeah. Mine has been pretty light. I've been playing a lot of Grindstone on the PS5, which is a puzzle game I've been playing on the Switch for a while. It's been trophy hunting here and there. There's been a lot of like IRL life stuff that I'll talk about eventually. Just don't want to talk about it right now. So I've been just really busy, and I'm really tired and about to go on a little bit of a vacation for a couple days, which is going to be nice. just to get away with stuff. This might be the first time I don't take my Switch for a flight because I always have intention of using my Switch on a vacation. Just like how Dave, you talk about, like, you're always like, I'm going to drive with my, or I'm going to have someone drive while I play the ROG. Every time I take a Switch, I'm like, oh, it'll be good to just play a game when I'm at the hotel. And then it's just like, no, I'm not going to, I'm going to crash.
I'll play it on a plane.
The hotel.
Like, I can play on a plane.
Yeah. I don't know. I can sometimes play on a plane.
What airline are you flying?
American. I usually do American United.
Do you have a headrest monitor, or you bring a tablet that you can connect to the airplane?
I think they cheap out now and they don't do the headrest monitor anymore, so it's just my phone. I just load up some podcasts. I've been listening to all the Giant Bomb Game of the Year podcasts from like the last 10 years because I'm weird. So I might just listen to that and then just, play threes on my phone. I don't know. I might take my Switch. I might not. I just always have grand plans to use it, and then I just never use it. So we'll see where I land on using my Switch. It's either going to go in my bag or it's not. It's going to be a game time decision when I wake up in the morning.
Is that Legend of Zelda game out yet? Like before you go?
No, it's not. Yeah, I literally will probably scroll through the Nintendo store just to see if there's anything worthwhile, but I don't think I'm going to take my Switch. Which is why I've been, when I get back is when I'm going to take a serious look at Concord. Like, let me just jump in just to see if this game has anything to offer.
Oh, damn. It doesn't come out until September 26th. It doesn't come out for another month. Jeez.
Yep, just missed it. Pretty light playing and watching. I'll talk about my trip next week, if we do an episode next week, because I do have a bunch of stuff happening after I come back. So we might take another week off, but we did warn everyone summer was going to be a different summer.
We have lives, and the podcast is a priority, but not over. I'm not podcasting over a vacation or time with my wife and kids and stuff. It's like just not happening. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Love you guys. Yeah. Love you as listeners.
We hit the ground
Stefan,
hard.
You'll hear about this in December. It's August right now, so.
Yeah, that's why I think Stefan asked a headset question. It's like, you know what, Stefan, we're just gonna answer this right now because you ain't listening anytime soon. So. Playing and watching is pretty easy. Dave, we will see if we're back next week.
Yeah. All right. So you can follow us on Twitter at Digital Days Pod. You can follow Michael at The First MJC. You can follow myself at Good Dave Hunt. We have a Facebook group and a Discord server that I mentioned earlier. They're linked in the show notes, as well as our Patreon. So patreon.com/Digital Days Gaming. Other than that, I hope everyone has a great week and keep moving forward.
Don't be a dick. See ya.